Good evening and welcome to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block, live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. I am Ryan Magnuson, and tonight I'm joined by Coach Wes Petty and head coach Mike Castellano. The Mustangs are coming off a 3-overtime loss to Holly Springs. It was 42-35. Coach, 3 overtimes. I mean, that's you got to be proud of the way your guys fight at the end of the game, but is that a tough one to swallow for you?
Anytime you lose, it's not an easy thing to swallow. We had chances to win the game earlier and we didn't do it. The guys did fight hard, and we asked our guys to play hard. And, they did that. We just didn't play well enough to win the game.
Yeah, so 42-35, so there's plenty of points on the board, so I know we have some highlights to take a look at here.
Okay, there wasn't that many points on the board until overtime, just
Right,
so we know. The first play you're going to see here is going to be a run by a freshman. Dre Jones does a great job. We don't care who you are. We just care that you can play, and this is a young man who's done really well. His brother played in the program a couple of years ago, and some great downfield blocking as well right there. When you get to the other angle, you'll see a couple great blocks by the OL. See Chris Allen do a great job pulling, and Nathan does a great job on the front side of the play. Nathan's right there on the left, and Chris Allen, and does a great job putting his foot in the ground. The receivers are blocking downfield for him, so that was a big gain. The next play here, the first drive, we actually did not play this well, but we got it coached up a little bit on the sideline and executed we wanted to. And Brendan Weinberg does a good job of stringing out the quarterback on the option play, and Luke Gray picks it off, and it's our first score of the night. It's a pick 6 for us. So that was a good way to start on defense after the way we originally began the game. So we were excited to get that turnover. The next play here, and I hate to say it, we're bragging him a lot now, is Luke Gray with a big sack there on a play-action bootleg, and he did a great job reading run pass and coming off the edge. Actually, Brendan Weinberg does a good job here, too. He's number 53, and making sure he covers the back out of the backfield. And you'll see him right on the left part of the screen, reads it, sees the back, covers him, and makes sure that we have an opportunity to get to the quarterback. The next play we're going to have is a touchdown pass from Brant Grizel to Ashton Mitchell. It's on the left part of the screen, a little skinny post. You see it better from the other angle, and this kind of shows Brant's arm strength when he can throw a ball that far and it doesn't go higher than 10, 12 feet off the ground because of his arm strength right there to get it fitted in. It's also a good job with the offensive line protecting. Let's move fast tonight. All right, the next one here, this play, I believe, never ends. Jonathan Singleton up top does a great job in coverage, picks one off, and wait for it, he's still running. He's still running. Still running and finally gets tackled. We gave him a hard time, and we said that might be the slowest 50-yard return in the history of football. So Brendan Weinberg got let off the hook a couple weeks ago. It was him, so we told him you're now second slowest. But Luke does a good job right there. He's a sophomore, and John's gotten a lot better. We didn't think he'd play varsity this year, and he's made a heck of a lot of plays. And then the next one, my notes said it was a hitch on John's back while he was running. The next one here is a punt of Michael Rubino. It's a big play in the game. We call it a rugby punt. Obviously, we do a lot of different things on special teams, and you can kind of see our formation. He catches it, and he's sprinting out to the right, and we literally want him to rugby it down off a read, and he does. And it's not exactly where we want the kick, but we want it unfieldable so that we can cover it and change the field position. And that was over a 50-yard punt. So we thought that was a big play that gave us an opportunity to hopefully have a chance to win the game. We just didn't finish it off.
Yeah, so obviously the defense putting points on the board again this week. And like you said, obviously 3 of those scores and the final score had to come during overtime. So how did you feel about the defense's play during this game?
I didn't think defense played very well. I thought we made some plays early on, but we didn't make some of the plays we should have. We expect every week to be able to compete to help our offense, and we did 2 particular times right there, but not the rest of the night. 3 different times, including the last drive, the last 2 drives of the game, and then twice in overtime, so a total of 4. If the defense just makes a stop, we win the game. So that's on the defense to make plays to do that. A lot of times people see the score and they say, well, the offense didn't score enough or this or that. It's a team game, and, the offense did some good things late in the game and early in the game, so, defense had to pick it up the other times, and we couldn't do it.
Right.
Coach, let me ask you this, and first of all, thanks for you guys having me on, and I appreciate
You are
being
a
here.
lot better looking than the other guy,
I do what
by
I
the
can. I do what I can. 3 overtime game, obviously, there's a lot of highs and lows in every game, but in 3 overtimes, there's a lot of emotions, and to come out on the short end of that, your team is kind of in uncharted territory right now because they've had a lot of success. What's the locker room like after the game because there's not a lot of time to dwell on wins or losses. What was the locker room like after that game, coming off 3 overtimes?
Well, it's actually interesting because Nathan's going to be on here later on, and being a guy who's Grayson's going to be on here too, but Grayson doesn't quite talk as much as Nathan. He's a little quieter. But Nathan would be a good guy to ask about that, and I don't think he'll mind saying he walked in the office and talked to Coach Bordeaux and I after the game about wanting to be a leader and those type of things. And you know, I think the locker room's in a good place because if you have good senior leadership, they understand you're not going to win every game, but you got to give your best effort. And the most important thing is to be able to, and I had to talk to a young man who's here, don't go on Twitter after a game and say something and not expect a negative result. So what that means is when you win, you have to be even keel. When you lose, you have to be even keel. So I think the guys now, again, we mentioned last week, we don't want our guys good at losing. We don't want that. We want them upset and disappointed, but we want to be able to turn the page whether you win or you lose.
Yeah, so, I mean, being able to control that, and you bring up, like, you know, social media, I mean, obviously that's kind of something, you know, newer that you've had to deal with probably every year as a coach. Is that something that kids, you know, struggle with when dealing with things?
Yeah, actually, you know, I have fourth period planning, and so does Coach Wilkes, and Coach Jacobs has to be around that area when it's third lunch, right, for fourth period planning. And today we talked about a young man who made a dumb comment on Friday night about another teammate. And I had to speak to his mother today and say he's off the football team. And she goes, why? I said, well, there's multiple strikes. I said, but one thing we don't allow to happen is for your emotions allow you to point out another teammate or pick on them, or not pick on them, I'm saying the wrong word there, of pointing a finger at them. You know, so over the years we've kind of learned that, you know, after a win, after a loss, shut up.
Yeah.
Don't say anything. And I think it was Herman Edwards always says, you know, when you type something that you want to send, don't send. You know, and that sometimes just getting it out there is a good thing. But with today's generation, you know, our guys are they're gonna be on Twitter, and Coach Wilkes and Coach Jacobs said earlier today, just tell them to get off Twitter. Well, it's not as easy anymore, and we would like to tell our guys, read Twitter, don't write on it. But, you know, I remember a couple of years ago, our first year we were all here, we got ready to play Fuquay, and I was told that's the big rival, and I really didn't know the area. And I made the comment, don't say anything on Twitter. And David Salmon got up and said, I'm done with Twitter. I will not talk for the next 2 weeks. I think it was a Fuquay and then Garner back-to-back weeks. Yeah. And he did not go on Twitter. Half or three-quarters of the team refused to go on it. And I thought that was a kind of mature move to understand when you're in that environment, you do put yourself in a bad position or make yourself vulnerable.
Yeah.
Coach, you talk about the rivalry with Fuquay and Garner, obviously a rival. It seems like everybody in our conference is a rival nowadays, whether it's the next game or the next game. And because of the success that Middle Creek has had, you know, everybody's gunning for you. What is it like now to kind of prepare for getting up off of that, from that loss, again, making it hurt a little bit, but at the same time being prepared? And you got so many people in different roles right now, because I know the season's kind of evolved with some people in different places and different roles and injuries. What is that like now with the next rivalry, so to speak?
Well, you hopefully you don't have to make them hurt from the loss. Hopefully they hurt on their own by the loss, and if they don't hurt by that loss, they don't need to be on the program or in the program. You know, every coach, every player that gives a crap, that was there all summer, you know, volunteer workouts there in the spring and is there every day at 6 o'clock or 6:30 on a Wednesday night when it's getting dark out and it's 40 degrees and raining. They don't need to be there if they don't care. So I think our guys do care, and that's the one thing that's unique is, you know, I don't want our coaches or players ever not to be upset that we lost. But on the other hand, too, you know, you're going to lose in life. And we told a story this week, back when I was a college coach and used to recruit. There was a high school, Valdosta High School in Georgia, and got to know the head coach pretty well, and they brought him in, and he's going to make this program what it used to be. And he started off 0-5. And they said, oh, this guy's going to get fired. He's not going to make it through the year. They won the next 6, won the next 4 in the playoffs, and all of a sudden lost by 1 in the state championship game. Wow. So it's not the team that plays the best throughout the year. It's the team that plays the best every night that's going to win. So you can win or lose every game. I mean, 2 years ago we struggled with the Smithfield team that I think hadn't won a game in a couple of years because we assumed we showed up, it was just going to happen. So I think if our guys can get to the point of understanding, you literally want to go 1-0 every day, then you have a chance to win. And I think last year, from what I've been told, I think Wake Forest was 2 or 3 losses and was a 12 seed, and I think they turned out okay. So it doesn't matter what you've done. It matters what you do next, whether it's win or lose. It's what you do next.
All right, Coach, we appreciate your time at the beginning here. We'll get you back on a little bit. You're watching the Coaches Show from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. This is Sports Block. We'll be right back.
I don't want to keep it on here, man. You have to
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And we are now joined by special teams / wide receiver coach Jason Wilkes. Coach Wilkes, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you could start off by just tell us a little bit about where this special teams unit is right now in the season, and also the wide receivers. We saw that the rugby punt executed on the highlight film. Was that the first time you guys had tried that in a game?
No, it's something we've been working all year, and we're just starting to break it out a little more. And it's been really working out well for us. Rubino's gotten a lot more comfortable with that type of kick, and he's really good at it. So, I mean, we're going to go to it a few more times as we go throughout the year. And as far as the special teams goes, we've been working hard. Our tempo is not where it needs to be yet. I mean, we haven't peaked yet. So that's a positive. I mean, we got a lot of growth we can make, but those guys have been coming out there every week and competing and trying to earn spots on special teams. So I see a lot of potential for growth there.
And so, what kind of things are you working on at this point with the unit in practice? If you're looking for that intensity to increase.
We just want to drive the competition up with those guys and just create a competitive atmosphere. And that's all we try to do every day. We teach technique, and we want maximum effort. And so that's what we focus on every day with our special teams. And the guys have really bought into it. I mean, like this week we've had music out there at practice, and they've been a little pumped up during special teams because of that. Because usually during the week they're out there making their own music, like they're simulating a kickoff before the game, and so the guys have fun playing special teams, and that's really been a key to those guys being successful on those units.
Yeah.
Coach, let me ask you this, because I know you hear often a lot. They say if you win the turnover game and you win the special teams and kickers game, you give yourself a good chance to win. Obviously, you guys watch a lot of film and evaluate a lot of film. What are some things that you pick up on a weekly basis from analyzing you guys' stuff from special teams that you can do differently or to enhance your chances to be successful in that part of the game?
Well, yeah, I've heard Coach Castellano come here and tell you guys we come up with new schemes every week. It's not from scratch, but we try to come up with new ways to attack certain weaknesses we see, whether it be us doing our onside kicks. We come up with new punt block schemes every week, and those are just areas we try to tweak and adjust. And even with our kickoff return, we just try to adjust it each week depending on the team and what they give us. Sometimes we run our fakes and stuff, and it's not just to do it. We see a weakness and we want to attack it. That's why we run it. So that's why we focus on just taking each opponent and looking at them differently, and then going from there.
Let me ask you this, too, because you're wide receiver coach, too. I played wide receiver in high school. And, something from a coaching standpoint from our end is that, kids coming in, whether they've been playing for a long time, you talked technique a minute ago, that, the fundamentals are so important. In terms of your wide receiving side of stuff with the coaching, what are some things that you have to do in terms of technique? Because you see all the time, even in college and pros, guys will be ready to run. They get open field and they drop the ball because they're more worried about taking off and get the touchdown. They are catching the ball, looking the ball into the hand. So from a fundamental and technique side, what are some things that you guys do with the wide receivers?
Every day we focus on those technique and fundamentals. It starts pre-practice. We call it noose drill, and our receivers come out there, and we're just standing in place, and we're catching the ball, looking it all the way in, all the way to the tuck, that sort of thing. Then we progress later in practice to actually running routes on air. At that point, then we go to individual, where I'm with the receivers one-on-one, and we're doing the basics every day. We're talking about blocking, our stances and our starts, getting off the ball, and just maintaining our leverage and, obviously catching the ball.
So we talked to Coach Castellano a little bit about social media and making sure players don't deal with the loss in the wrong way. So, what is your advice to players on that issue?
My advice is just like he said, just be smart and stay off of it. A prime example, I guess you could say a role model would be like LeBron James. I know every year during the playoffs and, during the season, he comes to a point where he says, all right, I'm done with Twitter for now. I'll see you guys after the season's over. And I think that's a good approach to it. And I know personally, like I have a Twitter, but I don't have time to be on it. I got work to do. We're working on the next opponent. I don't have time to be on that stuff. And, our kids, they're busting their tails in the classroom and working hard at practice. And, don't get caught up in that stuff. And it's just a way for other teams and other players just to bait you into doing something that you typically wouldn't do.
All right, Coach. Well, we appreciate your time this week and wish you good luck in the game and the rest of the season. Keep working hard. You're doing some good stuff with special teams and receivers and all the whole staff here, so we wish you all best of luck as you
Thank
continue to
you.
go down the road.
Appreciate that.
You're watching the Coaches Show from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. This is Sports Block. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And my favorite's the food, though.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously. I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And my favorite's the food, though.
Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
All right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously. I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And we are now joined by senior offensive lineman Nathan Woodard. Nathan, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. If you could just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, both on and off the field.
Well, on and off the field, I try to strive for excellence. I've been taught through sports to never be okay with just average. You always want to try to do the best for your ability, and I try to implement that in my sporting career as well as my academic career. So I also like to bring up people with me. I don't think it's just me that I need to worry about. I try to help my friends, my teammates, and anyone else who needs help, whether it's in the classroom or on the field. So that leads to maybe a couple tutoring sessions with people who needs help. But I think one of the things I've learned is the best way to learn not only like football plays, but also in the classroom, the subject that I'm learning at that time is to teach somebody, and it's just helped me a lot.
Yeah, definitely. So talk a little bit about your role on this offensive line. Are you on the interior or the exterior?
I'm left tackle, so I'm on the exterior.
Okay, yeah. So tell us a little bit about your responsibilities. That's obviously usually a pretty important position for your quarterback.
Well, my number one priority is to protect my teammates, to fight for my brothers who fight next to me. One of my main priorities is to protect my quarterback, Brant, on all those pass plays.
Yeah.
And another priority of mine is to keep my running back safe, because not only are they my brothers on the team, but I truly do love these guys, and I never want to see them hurt. So those are my priorities.
Yeah.
What's the mindset like of a lineman? Because, the offensive guys that touch the ball, they get excited for touchdowns. The defensive guys, they get excited for interceptions and tackles. But in the trenches, you kind of get, the quote-unquote dirty work down there. What's the mindset? What's it like kind of being on that line, kind of pushing, shoving, opening up holes and protecting like that?
Well, our mindset is pretty much we got to beat the guy in front of us. We call ourselves the Hole Patrol, and so right there, we're just fighting for each other. And we're just fighting to beat the other guy. And we don't really get glory. Nobody's going to say during a game, dang, look at that guy. He really pushed him hard. But
I don't know. If I ever see a good pancake out there, I'll get excited for that. I don't know if I'm the minority, but.
But yeah, no, we just fight to beat the guy in front of us and do whatever it takes to succeed and help our team.
What are some techniques that you have to work on? I know because it depends on whether you're trying to open up the hole for a running back or whether to kind of stave off the defense from getting to the quarterback. What are some techniques, some things that you work on kind of on a daily or weekly basis to make yourself more successful and your team more successful?
Well, our coaches teach us to never false step. So you always want to gain ground with your first step, because as soon as you false step, that D lineman's going to take advantage of it. He's going to shoot inside or shoot outside, and he's going to beat you. So you always want to gain ground on your first step. Another thing that we stress so much is to never lunge, because as soon as you lunge, the defensive lineman, he's got you. So you've got to keep a strong base, keep your mind right, and execute.
So what are you looking to do after Middle Creek?
After Middle Creek, I hope to attend NC State and double major in Spanish and engineering.
Very good answer.
Great decision. Great decision.
Uh-huh.
We can both
we can
speak
all agree on
that.
that.
Well, good luck in the games, the rest of the season. We
Mhm.
appreciate you joining us tonight. Best of wishes with, everything at Middle Creek and at NC State. Great decision again. So you're watching the Coaches Show live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. This is Sports Block. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary, and we are now joined by senior defensive back Grayson Smith. Grayson, thank you for joining us tonight, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Could you just start off by telling us a little bit about yourself, both as a player and a person?
Well, I try to do the best I can at everything I do on playing football, and I think football has taught me that to do it as good as I can on and off the field.
Yeah, so as a defensive, where are you in the defensive backfield exactly for this team?
I play safety, free and strong safety.
What kind of things do you enjoy about that position? Because obviously you have a good view of the field, so you can kind of pick your spots. So what do you like about that?
I like the freedom of it and being able to fly around to the football, full speed and stuff, and I like the idea of potentially getting interceptions.
Yeah.
Playing back there kind of defensive back and safety is kind of like playing chase in terms of ball pursuit. You're constantly trying to pursue, whether it's receiver or running back breaking through or whatever. I spoke to your offensive lineman that came up about his mindset, what it's like kind of being in trenches. As far as back there, like he says, seeing the view and everything coming at you, what's going through your mind as the play unfolds from the defensive side?
Well, our mindset is pretty much to read the offensive line to see if it's going to be a pass or run, and then just staying on your receiver if you have man or if you're in zone, and just getting to the football.
You guys are kind of the last link basically before the end zone if somebody breaks through, whether it be a run or a deep pass. What are some things that you do to kind of develop that eye skill, that development for playing the ball and seeing the ball and making sure you're in the best place at the best time to make the tackle or possible interception?
Well, as a defense, we do a lot of fitting up drills and pretty much just staying outside and making sure you're on your guy to make the tackle and where you fit up.
So playing through 3 overtimes, had you ever been a part of a game like that before Friday?
Well, when I played JV my freshman year, we played Green Hope, and I think it was about 3 overtimes that we went into against them, but we ended up getting on top and winning.
So take us into the kind of players' perspective after Friday night and what you're thinking, what the team feels like.
There were a lot of high emotions in the locker room after the game. But we just have to focus on the next game and learn from that game, put it in the past, and just focus on going 1-0 this week.
Yeah.
So much of the game is mental, and I've known your family and having coached your sister for a long time, and I know what a hard worker she is and what your family is and that you are as well. So, as far as motivation, what motivates you now, from your position and to help and motivate your teammates going forward, picking up and moving in the right direction?
Well, just to go 110% each play and just focusing on what the outcome of the season could be and just put in the games that we played in the past and not worry about them.
All right. Well, thanks for your time. We wish you all the best the rest of the season. Thanks for coming out. This is the Coaches Show live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary, brought to you by the Sports Block. We'll be right back.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
You know, my favorite's the food, though. Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right,
thin
enough
New York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
You know, my favorite's the food, though. Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right,
thin
enough
New York
about the
crust.
big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is the Sports Block, live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary, and we are now joined by head women's soccer coach Kevin Ebner. Coach, thank you for joining us again this year.
Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about where you guys are at right now. I know you're not in season yet, but give us an idea of how things are shaping up for you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're currently in the off season, but we're still trying to set the tone for the year. We're starting to offer a number of workouts, trying to get the girls thinking about soccer and what they need to do well in advance, so they're not coming into tryouts expecting to get into shape during that time. We want to get into that situation where they're coming in shape and peaking out at the right time, so we can compete throughout and be competitive right from the get-go.
Yeah, so going from last year to this year, how has this team changed? Has it changed a lot, or are a lot of things going to stay the same for you?
Well, that's a great question because we're only replacing 4 seniors, but we're really replacing them with only 3 seniors. So we've had an unusual situation where we just have not had numbers with upperclassmen. We're relying a lot on younger players, and it's kind of an unusual situation where, once again this year, we're in the same situation once again. We're going to have a potential of 17 juniors, returning or coming up from the JV team, and that's quite a bit, for one soccer team. Sprinkled in with the 3 seniors and then the other sophomores and kind of even freshmen that could potentially be on the team as well. It adds quite a different dynamic.
Yeah.
Coach, I kind of jokingly say I have a love-hate relationship with soccer because I have a lot of basketball players on my team that love it, but it takes away from basketball, so I hate it. No, I say that jokingly, but what has kind of changed a lot that I've noticed, and it's been with soccer and with volleyball too, is the club programs kind of overlap a lot with the high school programs now, and it kind of takes away from the high school side of things. How has that affected you guys in season and in off season as well, with so many players being involved with the club teams, organizations?
Yeah, it really is bittersweet. I mean, it's a situation that offers, I think, the girls just outstanding opportunities, to get looked at, to be seen for college. I mean, club soccer for our area, I think it's absolutely key for the girls that are really striving to get those scholarships, whether it's at a bigger school, Division I, or even the smaller schools, Division II, to be seen. High school is an awesome opportunity to compete, to play for your school, to have that pride, to have that recognition in your own community. But the club soccer, I think, is such an important, aspect for the girls, just to take it up to that next level, to be seen, to be playing, all year, so they can, again, reach those goals. If they want to play in college, that's the avenue that, is going to open up those doors for them.
With those opportunities available now, because so many of these kids travel all over the time, all over the place, what are some of the prospects of some of our players on the Middle Creek team, having opportunities to play at the next level?
Yeah, I mean, The good news is it's increased significantly, at least from the time I started here, even as originally as the JV coach, where, we really didn't have girls interested even, in playing college soccer. Where now all of a sudden, we're starting to get a lot more of the girls playing at the higher level in the club soccer. They're getting a lot of attention. They're coming and playing with us, and it's drawing more girls in. It's letting them kind of, be seen, on the field, and also let the other girls know, well, okay, this is kind of an avenue that I want to take. And it's really allowing them to, I think, become better players, get more experience, I think, and then ultimately, again, get those opportunities that, before just really didn't exist, at our school, at least not in this capacity.
Yeah, this conference always tends to be pretty tough in soccer. Is it looking that way again this year?
Well, the good news is it's starting to level out.
Mm-hmm.
There's usually been the powerhouse schools, in the last couple of years, but there's a lot of parity now. There's a lot of schools kind of catching up, closing that gap, including us. I really do feel like we've closed that gap on a lot of the schools, where, even if we're not necessarily able to beat them per se, we are still competing a lot, and that's something that now, instead of just competing, now we're looking to then take that to the next step and not only compete with them, but now we're the team now looking to bypass them and be one of those teams that, have basically flip-flop places with some of these teams that have been at the top of those standings, year in and year out.
Yeah, so we're going to talk to one of your seniors coming up here. Could you give us a little preview of her as a player?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's a perfect example of what we've been talking about. She's been very competitive at the club level. She's got that opportunity now, through what she's done for us and for her club team, to play at a Division I school, and deservedly so. She's been one of our best players year in and year out, even as a freshman walking on the field. She's gained a lot of attention, and, in our conference, which, like you said, is extremely competitive, from her first game stepping onto the field to, her last game leaving us as a senior is going to be one that I think she'll always be known as one of the best players in our conference. In my opinion, the best goalie in our conference. But, she's going to get an opportunity to play at that next level and be just as successful as she was with us.
Yeah.
Coach, you talk about that senior leadership and replacing some people that graduated last year and having, just a few seniors this year and the important role that they have of making that group as tough as they can be and being kind of young from the year still. How does that lead you into preseason workouts, and preparing for the season now, having a good group to lead your team like that?
Yeah, it's difficult. It is a challenge. It's something that, again, is not typical, I don't think, because, to have 1 year where you have 4 seniors, then you think, well, next year you're going to be able to have more numbers to kind of, fill in those gaps and to kind of build on that leadership and maybe take us to that next level. And then once again, we're, in a situation where we now have only 3. So then we depend more on those younger players to kind of, come together as a whole. So, we look for those younger players, those juniors, maybe even, those sophomores to kind of come together as a whole and focus more as a team gelling together, because we don't have that true senior leadership just because of lack of numbers. As for the seniors that are there, we hope that they'll step up and take charge. But again, with only 3 of them, we're going to have to turn more to those juniors ready to kind of step into a role, maybe a little bit earlier than expected, but nonetheless, that'll set the tone then for their senior year, which will then be a strength, in 2 years when we're looking at how many juniors we have now. That should be, a leadership from a weakness to a big strength, I think, in the upcoming years.
How have you seen kind of the program evolve a little bit with soccer just getting more and more and more popular in our country, in this area in particular too, with the growth of it at our school? Numbers I know is always tough in terms of the season. All the sports are offered in the spring, but from a soccer's perspective, I think like you say, the competitive level has definitely increased and the talent level has definitely increased. How have you seen that kind of change and evolve since you've been in the program?
Well, in a very positive way, which I'm very fortunate to say. We're excited the direction we're going. We got to a point where, we did not even have a JV team consistently, to now that we've established a JV team and a varsity program, where the JV team is very successful year in and year out now, and the JV team is, feeding into us, bringing up that competitiveness. They're really doing an outstanding job, I think, providing opportunities to develop and to, get those experiences that we'll then benefit from down the road. I think that, soccer is becoming more and more popular, and it's really helped, whether or not it's because of what else is just going on in the country or just in our area or just North Carolina in general is such a great area for soccer that we are really getting numbers, which is becoming again kind of a good problem for me because we're expecting more numbers and more competitive players that unfortunately are going to lead to some tough decisions. Which is great as a coach and also tough.
Right. Well, Coach, we wish you all the best this season. I know spring seems like it's far away, but it'll be here before you know it.
Absolutely.
So,
Looking forward
good
to
luck
it.
with everything. Hope you guys have a great season.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're watching the Coaches Show live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. This is the Sports Block. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is a Sports Block live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary, and we are now joined by senior goalkeeper Abby Coffey. Abby, thank you for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about yourself, both what you do on the field for the Mustangs and as a person.
Well, I really pride myself in being a leader on and off the fields, whether it is in any sport I play or in the classroom. But I also pride myself in just being really involved in what I do and making sure that I always give it my all.
Yeah, so as a goalkeeper, you can be on an island sometimes back there by yourself. So, how much of that that approach to that position is mental, versus physical?
It's almost 100% mental at this point, just because you always have to be making your decisions and just being involved in the game. Just you have to direct other people to do their jobs and stay focused on what I'm doing and just making sure that I'm always following the ball and being involved in the game as much as any other player is.
That can be kind of a pressure position because obviously people look at goals scored. What is your thought process in a game? Obviously you love to get everything with a shutout, but and realistically there are times when the ball gets passed, and what is your mindset in there when one gets by you? What's the next play? What's the next step? What's the next thought process there?
Well, it's always hard when a goal goes in and when I'm doing everything I can to prevent it from happening. But the mentality that I've always had throughout my whole sporting career is just turn the page and to just do the best that I can to move on and to just stay as focused as I can and as into the game as I was before the goal happened, or whether it didn't happen or not. Just stay completely focused and just kind of act as if it didn't happen.
On the flip side of that, kind of like being in the zone for basketball when every shot's going in, same kind of deal when you're making stop after stop after stop after stop. What's that feeling like when you're kind of in that zone and you're just a wall and nothing gets past you?
It feels really great when I have a game and it's like a 12 shot where I have 12 saves, 13 saves, and I know that I can carry my team. Because it not only gives me confidence to make the next save right after that one, but it gives my whole team confidence in my ability, and it just it gives a new energy to the team that it's kind of unreal because we always have energy, but if I'm doing well, it kind of, like as a leader, it just makes sure that everyone else going forward has energy as well.
So you mentioned communication as a key aspect to what you have to do, and whenever you watch soccer on TV, the goalkeepers screaming his or her head off. Well, so what kind of things are you guys screaming, at your defenders, at your midfielders?
Well, the majority of stuff that I'm screaming at them is either to do better because they're not doing so well, or
that's what it looks like normally. Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of the stuff is it's just simple direction. It's like telling them that they have a man on their back, or telling them which way to move, telling them which way to slide. Just giving them direction is really basically what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's that occasional scream of frustration when they do something that really sets me up for failure.
Yeah. So your coach mentioned that you have the potential to play Division I if you wanted to. Is that something that you would like to do?
Actually, yeah. I committed a couple years ago to UNC Charlotte.
Yeah, right on.
So I am definitely planning on having a full career there.
Awesome.
Senior year, last time around the block.
Yeah.
Kind of what are your goals going into the season? not just for yourself, but for your team, obviously, and kind of where you'd like to kind of finish up on a high note there?
Like you said, I definitely want to end up on a high note because it's not just for me, but it's for the other two seniors that we have this year, and it's for the girls who are trying to move up as much as they can. And it's not just about my experience; it's about the team aspect and making sure that if I do well, but like it's making sure that everyone as a team does well and that we just be as successful as we can. Because at the end of the day, it's just it's one day at a game. It's one game a day, and you can only do so much, but if you do well and you succeed, then you'll never forget that, and that's the memories that I'll remember.
Good memories to have, and going forward, obviously, as you go through the rest of this year and prepare for the next level like you talked about. I know how hard a worker you are, so I know you'll succeed and do great there, but what are some things that you're starting to do to prepare now for the season and the next step to reach those goals of being a senior on this team and of preparing to have an opportunity to play when you get to Charlotte as a freshman?
I'm really just trying to get as strong and as fit as I can, not only for high school season, but going onwards into into college. So I'm doing weight training, and there's fitness packets that I'm just doing as much as I can to have the strength and the fitness of a sophomore when I go in as a freshman, and giving myself the best ability to have an impact on the team and make sure that it's for the greater good.
I can guarantee you'll be fit for soccer season this year. Basketball being awake the week. Yeah. Well, best of luck. Obviously, best of luck for basketball first, because we got that coming up soon. But best of luck for soccer at school this year, and I wish you all the best at Charlotte when you move on there too. So thanks for joining us on the show. Best of luck for your season. You're watching the Coaches Show from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. This is a Sports Block. We'll be right back.
Thanks, Coach Petty.
It is a ruckus. It's a good time. We've got live music 4 or 5 nights a week. And
My favorite's the food, though. Our menu is very varied. We have great hamburgers, great pizza, great pasta, great sandwiches, great salads. We're famous for our New York style pizza. It's a huge 24-inch pizza with just right amount of cheese and sauce. And
all right, enough about the big pizza. Seriously, I sometimes still get a little bit long-winded, and this is a perfect fit for taking care of that.
It's great pizza.
Welcome back to the Middle Creek Coaches Show. This is a Sports Block, live from Ruckus Pizza in Cary. And for our final segment of the night, we are once again joined by head coach Mike Castellano. The Mustangs travel to Athens Drive this Friday. Athens is 3-5 overall and 2-2 in the conference. Coach, what do we expect from this Athens team on Friday after watching them on film and preparing for them?
Athletically, they're a very gifted team. Defensively, they can run around fast and make a lot of plays because they are an athletic group. On offense, they're going to utilize their quarterback. He's a very good, quick player. They've got 2 really good receivers and possibly the most physical offensive line we've seen thus far.
Yeah, so, having to shuffle players around, due to whatever it is, whether it's injury, are you still, preparing in the same way through practice, just, bringing new guys into the system, or are you adapting to that?
You do kind of both. You continue to do what you normally do, and then you kind of adapt to what you have and how it best matches up with your personnel compared to their goals and what they're trying to accomplish on the other side of the ball. It's football. Any sport you play, and Coach Petty can tell you, any sport you play, you got to do the best you got with the guys that you have and or the ladies that you have, and you've got to do it the same way to kind of compete with what the other team's going to bring to the table. So, we're excited every time we get to go to practice and see what guy improves, what guy gets better, and, what guy can help us that week.
Coach, I just wanted to say this because I meant to say it earlier, but I want to say just, what a great job you've done with this program since you got here and how well you fit in. I think we're really lucky at Middle Creek that we have a great coaching crew across the board. And, I don't know if you remember this or not, but the first time I met you, it was the night we were playing in the conference tournament. And you walked in the gym. It was the day you were getting introduced as a new coach at Middle Creek. And you stopped and you introduced yourself to me. And you said, I hear you're playing for the championship tonight. Good luck. And I had never seen you, met you, didn't know you from anything. And I remember that, and that's meant a lot to me. And I think, since you've gotten here, you fit in really well at Middle Creek, and you've done it for the right reasons because you've done it for the kids. And you hold the kids responsible and accountable, and you provide them with opportunities, not just to become great football players, but become great men. And I've seen you bring the thousands and hundreds of college recruiters in to provide kids opportunities and have college fairs and things. And you've really done a lot of great things since you've been at the school to promote the football program, but, the school as a whole. And, I mean, we sit here tonight in large part because of you. So I just wanted to recognize you and thank you for that before I get into drilling you with some questions.
I appreciate the kind words. That got really awkward. One, I don't believe in compliments, and two, I just told Coach Bordeaux before I came up here, I never want Petty up there again. He asks really hard questions because he's a coach, and he makes it really difficult to go up there and say nothing while you're talking. But no, I appreciate the kind words. It's funny that you say that. Coaching's such a small world. Before I got here, a friend of mine, Coach East, as you know, over at Millbrook, who's won some state titles, reached out to me as word kind of spread that, we were going to come here. And he said, man, you're going to like that guy over there. And he said, that guy Petty. And I said, he has a chick's name? And he kind of laughed a little bit. He said, no, it's Coach Petty. That's not his first name, whatever. And he said great things about you. And as I got here, it's kind of funny. You were the first guy, I believe, that walked up that wasn't a football guy that did that. But it's been neat. These guys deserve a lot of credit, and the parents deserve a lot of credit. I got here, Coach Bordeaux was the one guy that really, was here running a lot of the stuff, and he decided to stay, and it's been kind of neat over the years. I finally said to him a word I can't say now, but I said, I didn't know you were a smart blank. And he goes, well, it's always been there, Coach. I just didn't have someone like me to talk to. And it's kind of fun over the years to see him develop and our coaches kind of develop and our kids. And I'll tell you this as a friend, as a fellow coach, we were getting ready to play some team first game of the year. And as a coach, you have a tendency before a game to get a little nervous sometimes, and you don't say a lot. And I'll never forget, I was talking to Coach Wilkes, and I said, Coach, this doesn't look good tomorrow. And he said to me, Coach, we've been here 3 years. These are our kids. And he didn't mean that in a bad way. What he had meant was with all our coaches and what kind of the kids' vision and their work ethic and our coaches' work ethic, it's kind of become a really fun program in our own crazy way. And, that means a lot when you have those guys and those kids that do it. But our kids are just a lot of fun to be around. We try not to screw it up most times.
Well, you've done a great job, and that's just commended on you and all your staff. So moving forward, let me ask you just, too, in terms of preparation, as a basketball coach and following, the sport for so long and as a fan of football, they say preparation is key, and I know Ryan touched on that earlier. And, one of my great quotes from John Wooden was, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. And knowing you the way I've gotten to know you over the past few years, I know that you prepare as well with you and your staff as anybody in the game on a week-to-week basis. So preparing for this week, is there anything different that you've done or extra that you've done, or has it still kind of been the same old regimen? It's just like, okay, let's just go get it.
We haven't changed a lot. Our routine is, in terms of routine, not to bore everybody, when a game ends, Coach Williams will sit there and start to break down the film and input it from our last game, and then we automatically do a film trade, either 2 in the morning if Coach Williams is still up, or 3 in the morning, or 6 in the morning. And once that happens, he begins the initial process of cutting the film up play by play. And at that point then, it's kind of like a bunch of ants scrambling everywhere to get some stuff done, whether it's Coach Williams or Coach West or Coach Trump, Coach Wilkes, myself, Coach Bordeaux, and everybody kind of does their own thing, getting everything prepared. And once we get prepared, we all have kind of our own concepts, and then you kind of come together, and it's a bunch of idiots sitting in the trailer eating Ruckus Pizza. Coach Wilkes likes Mountain Dew, so we have Mountain Dew there. And Coach Bordeaux likes Sprite, and we do that. And then you go through the process of creating a plan, and that doesn't deviate or change. And sometimes we're not right, sometimes we are. I thought 2 weeks ago we weren't right, and we played a really good defensive game. And then, this past week, I thought we were on, and we had a breakdowns late. So that process doesn't change, but the main thing that's interesting to me and fun about the process, and I heard a coach say it one time, you don't coach, you teach people a process on how to be successful.
Right.
And we don't ever try to deviate from that, but it's funny because Sunday afternoons, Coach Williams and I are going to sit there, and sometimes some of the other coaches, and say, do we have a clue? Are we close to being right? And we'll stop and watch football for a little while, and then we'll come back to it. And then we'll kind of revisit it again. So we don't try to deviate. We just try to work together, try to make sure, because it's not what we know, it's what our players know.
Right.
It's what they can be successful at. And it's funny. I mean, all the years I coached college football, if I walk up to Grayson right now and I make a comment about, excuse me, if they're in a 3-by-1 formation right here and number 3 is on the ball and number 2 has a tight split, and that's some communication you don't necessarily hear with college players. And our guys have understood it, and our language that we have within our program has been a lot of fun. So that's all part of the process.
Again, I have nothing to add to
He's
this
asking
section. I mean, I don't want to get between you guys, so I'm just gonna I'm gonna let you go.
Loose, we could go
I'm
for
gonna
a
let you
long
go.
time.
I don't want to ruin the vibes up here.
The first time I saw this guy coach, I literally said to him, every time I see him, you have an open invitation to coach football. He is coaching a girls' basketball game. I believe Grayson's sister's on the court.
She was.
And they're getting the tail, the crap beat out of them. Their tails get whipped up down the court. They shouldn't be in this game. Remember that game? You're getting embarrassed. You're doing everything. He calls timeout. I'm like, oh my gosh, we don't have the manpower to keep up with him. He breaks a clipboard. He throws it.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Nothing.
Allegedly.
Mm-hmm.
And
Never happened.
I'll never forget, I think you scored the next 13 points on defense and traps alone.
We won the game.
And you did. And I remember texting you that night. I said, give me that guy's phone number. And I texted him. I said, that was one of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun. And there's coaches that coach, and there's coaches that really care and coach.
Yeah.
And Coach is definitely one of the ones that cares and coach. So I have a good time talking to him. So you guys are unfortunately sitting here listening to two idiots talk about the things they're passionate
This
about.
is the coach's special. You're welcome.
This piece of heck out of another idea. Coach Bordeaux and I were going to be 2 hosts one time and have you and the other Ryan on here asking dumb questions to you guys like you normally ask us. So
this was the
tables
intelligent program, and that would be the unintelligent one. Yeah, I'm good with that. Yeah.
But I do want to say congratulations to Abby, too, being committed to UNC Charlotte. I knew that she'd been there for, 2 years now? Mm-hmm. Yep, 2 years now. And I said something to Nathan's father when he was talking about what he wants to major in. And, between Nathan, Grayson's sister, and Abby, the intelligent kids that we have here are not just intelligent kids. They're going to be successful people. And it's a lot of fun to have people like this on the show. When you see these guys grow up, get to meet their families. Mr. Smith thinks he's leaving the program soon because he helps all the time. And this is like the mob. Once you're in, you can't get out.
He has to stay in that press block because he helps us with sports block stuff too. So he can't go anywhere.
So these are some neat people we have on tonight. So it's a lot of fun to see them and get a chance to recognize them.
Definitely.
And Coach, I appreciate the opportunity to kind of fill in tonight for Grover. You guys have the honorary coach of the week. So I'm kind of the honorary sports block sub for the week.
First
kind of
one.
get in there. So
if we win, you're doing it again next week.
Every time.
Yeah.
We'll fire
we'll
button.
spread out. We'll do it 4 across. We'll do a spread formation out here. We'll get everybody out here. So. But best of luck this week, Coach, and for the rest of the season. And thanks again for all the support of our program and for everything you do for the school.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys.
This has been the Coaches Show live from Ruckus Pizza. We'll see you next week.